So, hi everyone, thank you very much for watching or listening as always. Liam Hartree here today with another episode of Presenting Champions, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, Daykin, known as the Honey Badger, who is a very exciting fighter, although there's more to this story than just fighting. I'll get to that in a minute. But he is a Fighting for Autism ambassador, the first ever Autistic BKB fighter, bare knuckle fighter, British Lethway ambassador, has fought in multiple styles, including boxing on the unlicensed semi-pro circuit, whatever you call it, K1, he's competed in Muay Thai kickboxing as well, and of course most recently bare knuckle in his debut, fighting former pit fighting legend Tony Meehan, who's obviously now competing in the ring. So we've got a lot to talk about there, but there is a deeper aspect to this story of some things that Lewis has overcome in his life. I won't get into that just yet, we'll start that in a moment, but stay tuned because it is really an amazing story. That's enough of me talking about you in third person, mate. Thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for making the time for this. It's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, not a problem. We're very excited for it.
Amazing. So obviously, like I was saying to all of our people just now, we will get into the the fighting and a very exciting career that you've had so far. Obviously there's more yet to come, there's a bright future ahead of you as well, but I think going back in time first is the place to start. Like I mentioned, going back to your childhood, your early life, there were some very difficult experiences, one in particular that you went through, starting this off easily, basically sexual abuse that you experienced, and I believe this is the first time you've spoken about this. So, like I said, just to be clear, sorry, outside of your family, it's the first time you've spoken about this. So, I'd like to say, like I said just now, before we started recording, big thank you for sort of trusting me with this to reveal this for the first time. In your own words, this is obviously something that was very pivotal in your life, big part of what made you who you are today. So let's go back there. Can you explain to us a little bit about what happened and anything you'd like to share about that, really?
Yeah, I can't remember exact age when it happened. I must have been in single digits, like 7, 8, or 9, something like that. And as a family, we'd all gone down to Cornwall. Like, my family, mum, dad, sister, and then a couple of my cousins. Like, I had three cousins, and we all went down for a normal. They went to a caravan, I think we did, and we were trekking everywhere, sightseeing, I suppose you can call it. And then I needed to go to the toilet, really. So there were public toilets there, and that's where it happened. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah. Well, I understand it's very difficult to talk about, which is why I said to you at the beginning, you can say as much or as little as you want, and I would obviously never sort of push you or probe you for answers that you don't want to give, because it's a very brave thing to first of all acknowledge it within yourself, because I understand from friends of mine and things that's a process you have to go through, but then to reveal it to the world, it's very brave. So this happened, single digits, 6, 7, something like that, while you were on holiday. Obviously, again, as much or as little as you want, the immediate aftermath of this, you mentioned to me when we were messaging, setting this up, that they actually caught the bloke who did this. So what happened afterwards? I mean, did you go straight to tell people, or what was the situation really?
Well, what happened? Well, after it happened, like immediately, there were like a little ledge sort of thing, like because there were girl toilets and boy toilets, like a ledge. So I'd run out, jumped down. I sprained my ankle actually, and I ran to my mum and just immediately told her what's happened. She grasped me and won't let me go, obviously. And let's say she was wailing, and my dad were obviously like what's going on, like, and him and my uncle, they'd gone up to where I said it was. They were nobbed there, right like that, and immediately we went to, I can't remember where we gone to like a little restaurant thing, and we just said like, "Can we use your phone, please? Like, we need to phone police," sort of thing. And they were there in a matter of seconds, more or less. And yeah, they were there in a matter of seconds. They took me and my mum to one side, like, and said like, "What's going off?" Like, 'cause obviously 7-year-old being autistic, I won't talk much, and obviously I'm pretty sure some people know we've got a relative, know what it's like being autistic relative, and something like this can affect them. Because I was a shy kid anyway, I didn't really talk to anybody, and something like this, I didn't quite understand what was going on, so I didn't like. From what I recall, I didn't cry or like that. What I knew would happen was wrong, and I knew I needed to tell my mum. But like it was really strange. So police had took me and my mum to question, sort of thing. My mum explains what was going on, what was happening with me. Police officer, he took like a little beach and all, like a big load of trekker stairs that we'd gone down. And it was just a dead polite police officer. They were really nice to me and things like that. And they were just pointing out to people, like saying, "Is that him? Is that him? Is that him?" And how it happened, I never saw his face, which today I'm quite thankful that I never did see his face. I know that sounds quite daft, but I never saw his face, but I saw other things to help identify more or less who it was. And they took me down to the beach, just like, say, "Is that him? Is him?" And I was like, "I don't know, I don't know, I don't know." And then went back to my mum, with police officer, obviously. Police officer said, like, "Can we take your clothes?" They didn't do it, they stripped me there and then, or all like that. We'd gone to the car park to where my mum's car was, and we'd strip me off. And then I had to wear my cousin's clothes. She borrowed me, bless her. Police took my clothes and obviously for evidence, and I'm assuming forensics or whatever else they do with him. And then that was that for the day. Like, they obviously took my mum's details to get in contact with him and whatever. And then literally, I can remember going back to the caravan and my mum just telling me to get in the shower, like, "You'll feel better." But it was still really weird because it still not registered with me what's happened, like why it happened, what happened, and why it was me. Yeah, I got in the shower and then I can't remember what we did after that. I think we just chilled in caravan for the rest of the night and whatever. And then literally the day after, I was playing on like the little grass park where caravan was. And my mum says, like, "Can you come here, Lewis?" So we come back in caravan. The police officers were there and they said we caught him. So literally the day after, they caught him. And I said, like, "Look, we caught him." Yeah. And I think then later on that day, they took me down to the police station with my mum and dad and everybody. Everybody came with me, like. Took me down to the police station, just like saying that, "Look, you're going to be on a room on your own with this woman who's just going to talk to you." It's like, not interrogation, it's like an interview saying what's happened, why, etc., things like that. And I can remember the room, it was so vivid. As it was just like you know, when you got doctors, it was like a room like that. It was no different to it all. It wasn't like the same films where it's all like cold and grey, there's a silver table in the middle, like that. It wasn't like that. It was like two comfy chairs, and she sat me down. She asked me a few questions, just like me, settle down a little bit. What's your name? What do you like? What do you like this type of food? Just things like that, I think just to relax me, sort of thing. And she had to ask me, like, what happened, like, what did he do? And I told her what had happened and what he'd done. And we're like, to me, we're in a matter of minutes, the interview were over like that. And there were cameras in corner, like, and she said, like, she pointed to me like, "There's cameras in corner, just like watching what we're doing and what we're saying." And then that were it. It never went to court though, because I never knew. I don't know. It was really weird because I never had to go to court or like that. So then that was last I heard, and I'd done that interview, and then going back to family, and then we just carried on as holiday as best as possible. I'm not going to say it's normal because obviously what happened, but as best as possible we could. And then I never had to go to court or like that, from what I can remember. So he must have admitted to it, like, I'm assuming, because that's the only reason why I won't go to court, in my opinion. Again, I was only a then, I was 7, 8, 9, something like that. Yeah, then that were it really. The next they said they'd caught him, Yeah, that's it really. But it's something. I said, seven, something like that. 20 years later, there's not a day goes by that I haven't thought about it. Every day, every single day, which be a split second, something like that. Every day happens.
Well, it's a terrible situation. I mean, it's obviously it's good they caught him. I mean, that is something, but it still doesn't obviously take it away with what happened.
No.
Was he actually sentenced or anything like that? I mean, did he actually go down and get locked up for it, or do you not sure what happened like after that point? That's the only other thing I was going to ask about it. Did he actually get convicted and all that, or?
Again, I'm not entirely sure. Like, because how I was when I was a kid, quiet and still didn't register things. Basically, I let world go by. I mean, honestly, I was really laid back sort of thing until this moment in time. But I'm assuming he got sent down for it. It's not something I talk about a lot. Obviously, people who know my mum, my dad, my sister, my cousins, what happened. My wife knows, obviously, but the rest of the family don't know, so they'll find about it now. Because again, I've had no reason to bring it up, and I've not wanted to bring it up. But I think it's a good time to bring it up now, because it might help people think that, oh, right, okay, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does a lot. I mean, like I said to you at the beginning, it's a very brave thing to bring it up, obviously, and put it out there. Obviously, the other thing is I think it breaks down some sort of barriers with people as well, like I was saying to you, because other people out there who've been through this type of thing, a lot of people keep it to themselves, obviously, so that, hopefully they will speak out from hearing your story. But also, the fact that you saying this as a sort of tough individual, basically, as a fighter, as that sort of thing, I think it breaks down a lot of barriers for men, of the fact that actually these things do happen anyway, regardless of where you're from, who you are, and you can speak about it and you can heal to a degree. And I know it'll always be there, but it sort of sounds like you're processing it, putting it out there, which is an amazing thing. What would you say to other people out there who've been through a similar type of thing as well? Because I think that's a very important message that you can, we can take this opportunity to put out there. Someone else has gone through this, maybe they haven't told anybody, or maybe only people in their family know, or whatever. Any advice you'd give them on how to feel better about it, how to speak out about it, anything you'd like to say about it, really? I don't mind.
I'm not sure. The best medicine is telling somebody, talking to somebody about it. Like, because obviously if I had not told my mum straight away there, I think I won't be where I am today. So immediately, if something like that happens, talk about it straight away, confide in somebody, because none of my friends know, none of the people I go to gym with, this will be the first time they're hearing about what I've been through. But yeah, through school, none of my friends knew, I didn't know. But I told my mum and my dad and people like that. So if you can, talk to somebody you feel comfortable with. Like I said, mine with my mum at the time and my dad. So if you can, somebody you feel comfortable with, just confide in them, explain to them what's gone off. And yeah, just talk about it, really. Because obviously with men, people don't think it happens with men, because obviously the whole argument is, oh, well, he got an hard on, so he must have wanted it. It's just not the case at all. It does happen to men, especially young boys and all, apparently. But at the time, obviously, I was oblivious. Like, I was still innocent, but at the age of 7, 8, 9, innocence were taken away. So yeah, just talk about it. Open up about it.
Yeah, get it out there. I definitely say that bottling things up is not a good policy for anything, even just for general mental health now. But especially a traumatic experience. I mean, you do need to get that out there to people you trust the most. It's good advice. Obviously, another aspect of your upbringing that I think is important, that sort of combines with this in a way, obviously the autism, and you're the first BKB fighter diagnosed with autism and everything like that. And really, I'm going to take this opportunity to say that obviously I think it's a great gift, as well as, a lot of people look down on these things as like a disability. I personally think it's a great gift for reasons of my own as well. We won't get into here. But with that being said, when were you diagnosed with this? Was it from like a very early age? It sounds like at the time of this incident that you knew you'd already been diagnosed. But talk to us a little bit about that and just about your experiences, because one of the things I really want to do is break down a bit of the ignorance around this that people have, and sort of explain to people a bit more about your daily experiences as an autistic person, and some of the things you go through, because I do feel there's a lot of strange ideas out there about it. So, in your own words, take it away with that one, please, champ.
Yeah, obviously, when it happened, I didn't know I was autistic. I was diagnosed when I was 3 years old. My mum took me down, and I can remember going to meetings, like sort of so there's these cars, is that a cat, is that a dog, sort of thing. It's like trying to register should I be diagnosed or not. But we're diagnosed at 83. Me again, not a clue what was going on. All the way through primary school, from year 1 to 6, didn't know I were any different to anybody, but I knew I acted different to everybody. But and again, I know I was different in a way, but I didn't know why I was different in a way. It wasn't until I got into like high school when my mum started talking a bit more like, "Oh no, you are autistic. You've got Asperger's syndrome," that sort of thing. But yeah, so there are a lot of barriers. People think that because when it was 90, it was late 90s when my mum were talking about all with doctors and that, and the things that are available today for people who are on the spectrum weren't available when I were a kid. People don't know what Ben is.
Yeah, well, that is a factor in some of what you're saying, because these days, obviously, there is a lot more awareness of autism. There's a lot more understanding, but also with what we were talking about just now with the abuse and things like that. I would say there's a lot more understanding of that type of thing in this era than, like, if you talk to someone, say, from my parents' generation, it wasn't really acknowledged. It wasn't really sort of on the cards that this stuff was going on. So definitely moving in the right direction with awareness of this type of thing. Obviously, when we come to your sort of moving ahead a little bit more in time to your fighting career, I want to get to that now. But one of the things that I do have to put out there is these experiences have made you who you are today. So were they influential? Because obviously I'm not pigeonholing you as an autistic person, somebody who suffered from abuse, any of these things. I mean, we're all human, and these things are more things that happen to us than they are us, if you get what I mean. But at the same time, obviously these things have an impact. So were either of those things, autism or the abuse side of things, influential in you wanting to become a fighter and wanting to become that side of who you are today? Did it play a part, or was it a totally different thing that inspired you to want to do that?
No, yeah, I suppose you can say that, because throughout school, like primary and high school, I was bullied profusely, absolutely profusely. I never fought back. I ran away from fights, and now I'm not afraid to say that. If a fight came up, I'd have run away straight away. I was fucking gone. Didn't want nothing to do with it at all. Throughout primary school, it was more like name calling, really, a little pushing, shoving, and things like that. But in high school, I can remember it so vividly. In year 7, it was the first week. I was coming away from classroom, like tutor sort of thing. I was coming away from there. And there was like a science block, and there were loads and loads of stairs. And I can remember these, like, there must have been 9, 10 at the time, something like that. They just come up from behind me, grabbed my hands, and they threw me down at the bottom of these stairs, and they started stomping on me profusely. Only thing that stopped them was bell. Literally, basically Saved by Bells after that sound. But threw me bottom of the stairs, stamped on me, bell went, and then they ran away. And I just laid there in fetal position crying. And it wasn't until I think somebody from the tutor group that we were in came and said, like, what's happened, sort of thing, and took me away and got me sorted, sort of thing. And then them lads never faced anything. That's it. They got away with it, basically. But again, throughout school, threatened, beaten up. You can say I had to go through it. But again, through school, I never had fights throughout high school or that. Again, I ran away from them. And only until in year 8, which I think that's about 13, I'm not quite sure, but in year 8, that's when I started going boxing. I did it for a year, like 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning. I'd be there for a year with teacher and a couple of other students who were interested in boxing. I just boxed. But again, I never fought throughout school.
Okay, so that's the beginnings of the journey of greatness, in the fight game, which is very, very cool. And we'll move more in depth into that in a moment. But before we do, the one last look the one last sort of look back type of thing at some of the things we were talking about just now, I'd like to talk about effectively your healing process just a tiny bit more, like if boxing and things like that were influential in healing from the abuse and some of these things, because obviously you mentioned that you think about it every day, it's sort of always with you type of thing, which must be terribly difficult. But you've also sort of made a positive out of your situation. I mean, you are a successful fighter, you are a successful person, you are married. I mean, obviously a lot of people have intimacy issues, and again, I'm not pigeonholing anyone, but it's something that comes up quite often with people. So, in terms of your process of healing and sort of thinking, I'm going to make a positive out of it, if that's the right word, because it's never going to be a positive situation. I respect that, but in at the point where you said, I'm not going to let this sort of beat me type of thing, I'm not going to let this get on top of me or whatever, even though it obviously hurts to this day. I know it's a sort of a strange question, but in your own mindset and your own emotions and like inside of yourself, what was the process you went through where you sort of thought, I'm not going to, even with the bullying, I'm not going to be put down by this anymore, I'm going to flip these experiences on their head. Do you get what I mean? I know it's a bit out of the box, but it's like the internal process that you went through,
Yeah, well, like you said, it got to a point when I was in school, and I just thought, no, I'm not going to let this get to me again. Hang on, I'm just going to have a drink. My throat's gone dry, sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, like you just said there, it got to a point where, no, I'm not going to let this happen again, because when I was getting bullied, what had happened had always come back to mind. And again, I wanted to stand up for people who can't talk or can't fight, like we're fighting for autism. I thought, I want to do something with this. I need to represent this in some way. I need to get something good art in it. And but then when I left school, yeah, just concentrated on fighting a bit more and things like that. But yeah, we just got to a point. I don't know exactly whereabouts in my journey happened, but I just got to a point like, no, this is not fucking happening anymore. And then I've just rode this ever since. And I suppose it's got to me where I am. And I've had parents, come up to me with their young ones, like saying, can you do one-to-ones with him, such and such? He's on spectrum, or she's on spectrum. And it's just like, yeah, I'll help out where I can, like. And parents will be watching me with a kid, like, just to like see how well I'm doing and things like that. And they're coming to me and like saying, how do you understand so much? It's just like, I'm in their shoes. I wear their shoes every day. I've been where they've been. And it's like what they've got today that I didn't have when I was younger. So I want to try and be the person I wanted when I was going through it all, really. And it's a great feeling that I've helped so many, quite helped a lot of that. I've helped a lot of kids. It's just a mint feeling. I'm proud to wear that.
Yeah, and so you should be, because it's a great achievement. I mean, people need those sorts of mentors and guidance and things like that. Obviously, jumping into the fighting side of things and what you're known for, and again, it's the same thing as before. I know you're not necessarily defined solely by that, but at the same time, it's sort of what you're known for in the public eye, if you like. So you've competed in these different styles. You've got the unlicensed boxing or the semi-pro or whatever you choose to call it. That side of things. You also got K1, Muay Thai kickboxing. You've got an interest in Lethway, which we'll get to afterwards. But which one was the first one that you started with? It sounds like it was the boxing. Am I correct in saying that you had the boxing fights first? Tell us a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, it was boxing I ever did first. Like I said, year 8, every morning, 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, down at gym at Mincy with teacher. They would call Mr. Max. I'll never forget him. And that's where I first started from. Just started boxing there. And then my uncle, it was my cousin's wedding. And my mum says, like, your uncle does Muay Thai. And I'm like, never heard it at all. So I went up to him and says, oh, yeah, you do Muay Thai, like. I says, can you teach me some? I give him credit now. It's called Darren Daykin. Thank you, Uncle Das. So, yeah, I asked him, and I says, I'm not a professional, Lou, but I'll show you what I know. And ever since then, every time, more or less after school, I'll be at his house, just in his garage, kicking, punching bag, things like that, doing different techniques and whatever. And then that's when I first discovered the first Muay Thai influenced me, which was John Wayne Park. So, yeah, I did boxing first, moved on to Thai boxing, Loved that. I still love it today, obviously. But I first competed in boxing. That was in 2016, I believe, so 6 years ago. So I waited quite a while just doubting yourself, really, as you can imagine, and whatever else. Uh, yeah, boxing first, then Thai, then K1. Because K is similar to Thai, but not really, because no clinching in K1, no elbows, things like that. But yeah, just moving on to different things. So I did semi-pro boxing first, K1, some more boxing. That was my first Thai fight, and then I discovered Letway, which was brilliant.
Yeah, now obviously, like we're saying so far, and if you need drinks, don't worry, it's all good. I got one with me as well, so it's natural when you're talking for like an hour, so don't worry. But yeah, with the different styles, I mean, obviously, there's a number of when you sent me this, there's a number of boxing fights, number of kickboxing fights in the different styles, etc. But we'll get to the bare knuckle boxing in just a moment. But before we do, yeah, the Lethway side of things, it's an amazing sport, sport with a rich history as well, and a sport I really think that the Western world is sort of waking up to a little bit, obviously with it coming from the East and Myanmar in particular. What sort of piqued your interest in that? I'd like to get into that, but also your role within within being an ambassador for British Lethway as well. It's not really a narrow question about this particular aspect, but just it's obviously something you're passionate about. So share with us anything you'd like to share about it. Really, that would be great.
Yeah, it was strange. I stumbled on it completely by accident. Really weird because I was watching some Thai fights. And I was watching somebody called Michael Badado, who lives in Australia, has trained with John Wayne Pass. I followed him on Facebook and that. And it shared one of his fights in WLC. I'm thinking, fuck's WLC? So I looked into it. I saw the rule set, literally, because I watched it first. And he's cracking him with headbutt. I'm thinking, fucking hell, it should be bad. Or it should be disqualified for that. And then they carried on thinking, that's fucking allowed, isn't it? So I did a lot of research into Litway after Michael Badado's fight, because I think he's had a couple of fights in Litway. And I'd done some research into it. I'm thinking, fucking hell, this is fucking cool, this. And I just, for I think 2 or 3 years, I just researched it. Like, try little techniques on my own, like on bag. When I'm on my own, I didn't teach it to anybody. I was like, watch videos, do a little bit on bag, watch videos, do a little bit on bag, that sort of thing. And then it eventually got to the point where I'm thinking, fuck, I want to fucking fight in this. I never have yet. I don't know if I will yet, but I haven't fought in it yet. But I want to do this. So I got in contact with Andrew Bakewell, who does the BFBA, which is now BKFC UK. I got in contact with him and I just said, like, will you put on a Litway fight for me so I can fight? And he says, yeah, of course I will. And he's proper up for it, like, because he's done it his son, like. So he was proper up for it. And then I did get matched up, but I had to pull out. But I can't remember why. I think I was in an accident or something like that. I can't really remember. But I had to pull out, and then everything things got put on hold and whatever else. And then a lad came along. Wendy were talking to each other, and they came up with, and the lad came up with BLC, the British Lethway Council, which is now disbanded. It's no longer in effect, basically. But I got talking to him. He came to Ludus Magnus, where we were training at the time. We got talking about rule sets and things like that, how we're going to do it, what we're going to do, how was Andy going to help us out with it. And we did, and I can't remember what year it went. It had been nearly 3 years ago now. Ben wasn't born. It had been nearly 3 years ago now. And we got talking and he said, like, we're going to host these Litway fights on this show. I said, oh, brilliant. I said, can I ref them? He said, yeah, of course you can. I said, oh, brilliant. So, because I've never refed before, or I've never refed any fight or whatever. And to get in there and not fight and actually watch over a fight, it was a cool feeling because it was the first time Litway has ever been on the UK soil at that time. And it was such a weird feeling because it's a new sport that's come to the UK and like this is what's happening. And I got interviewed like on the thing, like, explaining what's happening and why people are out to headbutt, people while elbows by whites, bare knuckle, things like that. It really caught people's attention, and people seem to love the fights. I think there were a couple of Litway fights on. Yeah, absolutely brilliant atmosphere. People loved it. They wanted more. There were championships. It's just, it were brilliant, honestly. And to be a part of Litway history, I think the UK was the 7th country in the world to host a Litway fight. And to be a part of that, honestly, like, that's something I can hold under my belt now. I'm really proud to hold that.
That is an amazing achievement. Very, very good achievement. And yeah, I mean, the sport is growing massively around the world, which is good. Obviously, I know with the situation in Burma at the moment with their government and things like that, there's been a few issues with that. But at the same time, it is still growing massively around the world, which is incredible. Hopefully, we'll see you compete in that in the future as well. That would be incredible. I mean, I've had a few guys on this show who are like very seasoned. Practitioners. Cyrus Washington's been on the show. Obviously, fought David Duke, Shannon Rich. I think they were part of the first group of Americans to go over to Burma and fight Lethbridge. So I've spoken to a few of those guys, and it's an amazing sport. So hopefully we'll see you compete in that. Obviously, bare knuckle boxing. I mean, it's something people want to hear about because not only because of that and obviously the FBA, great promotion, but because of who you fought, because Tony Meehan as well, like the background he comes from in pit fighting. I interviewed him again when he was still world champion in pit fighting back last year, and he's transitioned well to the ring. I mean, I know the results are a bit mixed, but he's transitioned better than a lot of the guys. So big shout out to Tony Meehan, tough as they come. Back when he was at the top in pit fighting, honestly, his own nightmares were scared of him. He just had that rep for being something. But obviously, against you, you got the win, and I know your hands took a bit of a pounding, but you got the win. Fantastic fight. So walk us through the fight itself. And again, it's not a really narrow question about this round, this particular thing, but your recollections of what happened, what you enjoyed most about it. Please do share with us about your hands as well, because that looked pretty nasty. So hopefully they're doing a bit better now. But again, over to you with the Tony Meehan fight. Let's hear it from your point of view.
Yeah, the Tony Meehan fight. Honestly, I really enjoyed it because I wasn't supposed to fight Tony originally. I was supposed to fight somebody, Christian Nadal. I think he's Polish. Please don't have a go at me because he might not be Polish, but I think he is. I was supposed to fight him first, but for some reason he couldn't fight. So I was like, okay, what else have you got for me? And Andy said, I got Tony Meehan. Now, I've known Tony, like I said, through pit fighting. I've watched his fights in pit, and he's going with his hands like bombs, mate, honestly. He throws them, and it's good night, basically. And it wobbled me, I'll not lie, proper wobbled me. But yeah, when he said that to me, I'm like, oh, fucking yeah, I'll fight him, no worries. That's fucking great name to fight. Don't get me wrong, I was nervous, I was scared, I had all them emotions inside. Like, this is my first bare knuckle, you've been waiting for this for a while, Lewis. This is what you want to do, this is why you love it, this is why you're doing it. And Tony actually came up to me before the fight. Now, I don't normally do this, I don't like doing it, but he wanted to have a little chat with me. And it was dead sound, mate. Honestly, he is a nice bloke. Not everybody likes him, I understand that. Everyone's got mixed emotions about him or whatever, but I've had good experiences with him. He was really nice and polite before the fight, and he was really nice and polite after the fight and all. So we both were like, we're never like, we're going to beat each other's throats, I'm going to rip his head off. We never like that, we were quite professional. But yeah, going into the first round, I brought my hands in the first round. I knew I'd done it straight away, fucking hell. Because we traded a few blows, and we got up against the side of the ring, I think, and he rolled under, and as he's rolled under, I've gone for a body shot, and it's, boom, connected there with my right hand. Now, I felt him break, but it didn't hurt because of the adrenaline. Oh, yeah, but I knew I fucking broke him. And then later on, I caught him with I think it was a left hook that cut his eye. I think that's what brought me that left hand. And yeah, but I'd gone back to the corner after that round. McConnell and Liam Stones, Dave Wright, and Sam Halliday were in the corner. Says, I brought my hands. He goes, you are? I said, I brought my hands. He goes, you all right? I said, yeah, I'm fine. Go, fucking leave him there, bro. And we carried on. But the fight was, I had to adapt straight away into the second and third round because I couldn't really put a powerful shot on my right hand, try throwing it in, but it started hurting. I'm thinking, I'm not fucking careful with this. But picking him off from my jab a little bit, moving my head, sometimes throwing a body shot in there, getting him hugging up, getting some dig step body and things like that. But the fight itself was brilliant, really good experience. My hands aren't nearly enough better now, as I said. You probably might not be see on camera, but them knuckles aren't there anymore. They're in there, but they're not where they should be, basically. But yeah, my hands are 95% better now. I've not punched anything yet. I've not gone training yet, but I'm going to be going training back in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, the fight as a whole was absolutely brilliant. Great experience for me. I'm pretty sure it was a great experience for Tony and all because I think he wobbled me in the first or second round. He fucking caught me with a beautiful right hand. Yeah, right hand. He caught me there. Boom. I was like, fucking hell. My legs went to jelly sort of thing. And I stood back up thinking, fucking hell, he can hit hard. And then we just went at it. It was brilliant. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, it was absolutely cracking fight. It was amazing. And Obviously, congrats on your win as well. Amazing, and the bravery as well, fighting with obviously with busted hands. Obviously, Tony, shout out to him as well. I wish him the best for the future because he has transitioned well to obviously to the ring. Because I mean, it is so different from the size of the pit. But talking about your future in the game as well. Obviously, we've spoken a little bit about the left way side of things. You want to do that with bare knuckle boxing. Is that going to be like your main focus now, or are you going to go back to types of kickboxing, or basically I want to get into a little bit about like what you're dreaming of for the future, if there's anyone specific you'd like to fight, just everything like that, what the things that are lighting a fire in your belly basically. It'd be good to touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, at the minute, I'm not going to be doing bare knuckle again as of now, but I am going to be fighting again. It's going to be, I am leaning more towards the boxing in 4-ounce gloves, MMA gloves, basically. I want to do that just because well, I've got a job now that I need to keep. Obviously, I've got a family to provide for. So I just want to, I've done my bare knuckle, I'm happy with it, I've won it, absolutely brilliant. But to do it again, it's not going to be anytime soon. So I'm going to concentrate on my boxing because I'm really enjoying my boxing at the minute. Yeah, I'll fight next year, definitely, without a doubt. But it's going to be the boxing with MMA gloves on. Anybody in particular? No, not really. I've never been picky with me. I've never picked people I want to fight. They've put me forward, or they've put them forward to me. I said, yeah, let's do it, sort of thing. I've never said, oh, no, I can't fight him because of such and such reason. It's always like, you're fighting him. And I'm like, yeah, okay, let's fight him then. But yeah, I will be fighting him for the next year.
Amazing. Well, it'd be good to see you back. Obviously, I mean that's an obvious statement, but it'd be great to see you back in there, whatever form it may take. Obviously, moving into the last couple of things, of this interview for people's attention spans. I also want to get a little feel for like your training and some of the behind the scenes of what you do. Because obviously other fighters watching this will know all about it, they'll know how it works, but for fans and people like that, they don't know how it works. Also, I think this might touch a little bit on your autism and if there's anything different about your training, because one of the things I have to ask, and again with no pigeonholing or nothing like that at all, but they do say obviously people are actually more sensitive in a lot of cases. I mean, you don't like fabrics, you don't like certain noises, you don't like all sorts of stuff. So obviously, feeling like that, if that's something that you experience, and then fighting, I mean, especially in the way that you do it. It'd be good to touch on your experiences in that area, because again, I think it's misunderstood. You get where I'm coming from with this, hopefully. So yeah, take it away with this one, champ, in terms of your training, but also if there's anything different with the autism side of things and how that works for people to understand it better,
Yeah, no, completely understand what you're saying. Like you're saying there, some people have I'll say a sensory disorder, because I'm not sure if I can't think of the actual word, but like a sensory disorder. Like I said, some people are sensitive to touch, light, noises, things like that. Growing up, it seemed to be light and noises, like sometimes being grabbed a little because of what happened. But it were noise. I still today don't like loud noises. Like, it sounds daft going to an arena and have shouting and whatnot. But when you're in that ring, it's all you. Everything just goes mute in your brain. But yeah, with me, it were light and noises. That's why I like to wear glasses when I go outside. I'm not saying I like to wear sunglasses, just so I see fucking properly, basically. But in training, it was really weird because it was something I loved. And with somebody who's autistic, if they find something they love doing, it might not necessarily be fighting. It might be drawing. It might be working on cars. It might be sewing, knitting, whatever. They will do everything to focus on that. All their energy, straight on that. And like with me, mine's fighting it. Everything's focused on that. So when I went for the gym for the first time, yeah, of course I was nervous. I won't be nervous. But yeah, for the first time, it was a weird feeling, but it was something that I knew I'd have to put up with to be able to do what I want to do. And through training, it wasn't really a problem. Like, I struggled talking to people when in the early days, like training with and things like that, because I didn't know how to put myself across and whatever. But yeah, training, being autistic, I said other autistics might not even like training at all, might not go to gym at all. But yeah, sometimes music can be a little bit loud in the gym for me. But when you're sparring or doing pad work, it just goes mute again, goes quiet, or you're getting grooving it a little bit. But yeah, it never really affected me in a bad way, if you'll say that. It was just a part of character development, I suppose you can say.
Yeah, I suppose so. And again, it's another thing that you've made into a positive. I mean, personally, I think it's a positive anyway, because if you look at a lot of people in history, a lot of great people who've achieved great things. It's a very, very common trait to have that understanding, have that focus. If you're feeling a bit, it's okay. I mean, if you need a minute to clear your
No,
throat,
it's
it's
all
fine.
right. Sorry.
Yeah, you okay? No, it's fine. It's
Joking
okay.
on, that's
'Cause if anything like that, I'll just cut it out anyway. Even if someone's coughing or something when we release this, so it might have gone down the wrong way a little bit. So it's fine. Just give yourself a minute. It does happen.
yeah.
You should, yeah, it.
Yeah, we should be good.
Yeah,
Should be good.
right. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, you got to give yourself a minute. I was looking at you, and your eyes were starting to bulge. I thought, oh no, he's gone down.
I was trying to fucking hide it.
Don't worry, it's all good, mate. It's all good. It does happen, but that sort of thing happened to me before, but it's all good. But no, I mean, I think going back to what we were saying, it gives people more of an awareness. A lot of the great people in history, they've had that quality of like almost being a bit obsessional, but taking something apart and understanding it fully and just putting your focus in. I'm like that myself. I mean, I've got this thing even with interviews. I've recently realised I've interviewed people from every fighting style you could do, bar one or two that are missing, and I've got those hopefully fingers crossed coming up later this week. And then I think I will have actually interviewed people in every fighting style. So I'm a bit like that myself, not just about that, but about other things that interest me. So I totally get where you're coming from. When you said about researching the left way and stuff, and find out all about it, I totally get that. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool to sort of raise people's awareness. Obviously, another thing I got to bring up here, which is sort of a bit of fun, really, is Charlie Salvador, Charlie Bronson, depending on what you call him. You've been known to wear like T-shirts and things saying, free. I can't remember if it's free Charlie Bronson or Salvador, whichever name he has on there. But to free him, basically, depending on what you know him as. And that's a fascinating thing. And I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that he actually sent you some type of thank you, or I saw a post on Facebook. So can you tell us the story of A, why you support him, and also B, what he sent you and what happened with that? Because I think that's super cool, to be honest. So yeah, let's get into that side of it.
Yeah, Charlie. I first heard about him in school, and obviously just before the film got released, and that film got released, I was in Bronx, and it's like, fucking hell, who's this like? So I'd watched him, loved the film, obviously. And when I watched the film, I thought, oh, he must be dead. But then at the end of the film, it says, like, served so-and-so in prison, is still in there today. So I just did a bit of research. I'm thinking, oh, you can write to him. I thought, who should I write to him? Should I fucking write to him? Woman in hour, I'm not for age, or woman in hour. I thought, nah, fuck it. But worst thing that happened is you don't fucking reply. I wrote to him. And he replied back. I'm like, I had a bit of some beard of sweat when I'm thinking, fuck, I should fucking reply back to me. And I really can't remember what first letter were about. I think it was just like saying, I support you, that sort of thing. And he written back, and I've got all the letters in the drawer of the room. Like, he sent me, and I keep writing to him today because he's, in my opinion, he's helped me out a lot in my training. Like when I felt down or something's happened, he's always like replied back to me with a lot of support and whatever, like you want to call it. Yeah, he's done bad. Everyone's done bad. Not quite to that extent, but yeah, he's done bad. He knows he's done bad. There's the reason why he's in there. But he's done far too long, in my opinion. He's never raped anybody, never hurt a woman, never hurt a child, never killed anybody. He's in there for no reason now. Honestly, I know a lot of people don't like him. You can't like everybody. I completely understand why they don't like him. But to me, he's a bit of an idol that I do like to follow. He's been so nice with me. I've been nice with him. He's helped me out, just being present with me and writing to me and being supportive. So yeah, the first time I wore my T-shirt for him, which was Free Charles Salvador, that was one of my semi-pro boxing fights, and I lost it. And he was like, "Nah, I don't mind, mate. Don't worry about it." Like, he's basic encouragement, like sort of thing, boosted me up a little bit to what had happened. Obviously, I felt bad that I lost. And this fight that happened now, I thought, no, this one is for fucking Charlie. This one's for Charlie. This one. And I sent him pictures, like, and he says it's something I'll never forget. And I just love Charlie to bits, honestly. I don't think he realises how much he has helped me become the person that I am today. He's helped me out so much, so I will always support Charlie.
I love that. I mean, I think it's amazing, really, that you obviously that you're in correspondence with him and you speak to him as basically as a friend, and he encourages you and all of that. It's a wonderful thing, really. And I mean, yeah, I'd say I've seen the film. I've read some of his books, actually, a few of them. And yeah, I mean, what he's been through in there with like the solitary confinement, like 23 hours a day, and it's just when he describes the regime of like I think in the one book, the door's locked so tight or something, there's hardly any air in there. And he wakes up in the morning, goes to the window, and he's like opening air. And
Yeah.
it's like being in a tomb, like a concrete tomb. And I read that and I thought it's very, very moving because um, when you read about like what he's actually done, getting up on the rooftops of prisons and all this sort of thing and wrecking and taking people hostage in his cell and stuff. But again, never like serious injuries, as you say, never raping, never killing, any of that stuff. And it's like it has gone on a bit long. I appreciate they want to make an example out of him because he's sort of against the system, basically. But it has gone on too long, and I'm with you on that. So fingers crossed he'll get out of there before he's like too old or whatever. I mean, he's got to be quite an age now, and so fingers crossed he'll get out of there before it's too late. But I just thought it was cool, man. I saw you obviously with the t-shirt and everything, and obviously with the mustache. I mean, obviously at points in his life, he's had quite a sort of enviable mustache. So I can see you guys have that thing going on, which is pretty neat as well, like a similarity. So very, very cool. So moving into obviously the last part of it, really, I suppose, for people's attention spans is we've talked about your future plans. Can't wait to see you back in there. Your fans, your supporters. I often close out an interview by giving them a mention, by giving them a shout out, because some people listening to this, it'll be their first exposure to who you are, what you do, etc. Some people, though, obviously your friends, family, supporters, fans, whatever, they'll all be watching this. So what would you say to the people who've stood by you, not just with your fighting career, but with some of what we've talked about before as well? You're loyal people. Obviously, the sport of any sport of fighting would be nothing without them. But on a more personal level, let's just give them a shout out of any words, any thank yous, anything you'd like to say to them as the last question, please.
Yeah, you just reminded me there because I forgot last time. Yeah, I want to say thank you to all my sponsors. Please forgive me if I forget some, but I'm going to try not to forget them. So there's Fighting for Autism, that's Paulie Boy, Anna Plummer from Tattoo Junkies, Marcus James, who works around with my diet plan, Dave Elliott, West Yorkshire Horse Boxers, Sonia Padgett in Collier's Cafe, and Adam Hollins for the Skip Hire. I feel like there's one more. I feel really bad. Oh, yeah, all my sponsors absolutely brilliant. Especially Anna Plummer. She has supported me from literally day one, even before I was fine. Or she supported me from day one. Yeah, thank you to all my sponsors. People who do follow me and support me, thank you for supporting me and give me the fire to carry on doing what I do. So yes, thank you to everybody who supports me in that.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, at the end of the day, I like to give them a mention because, it sort of seems obvious, but a lot of people overlook that because they're so busy focused on the fighter. But there's so many other aspects to it with, trainers, coaches, cornermen, at the very least, never mind like sponsors, family members, friends. So, and even just random people who send you positive messages or whatever it is, when you speak to fighters, they'll say it all adds up. So, I'd like to give them a mention. But Champ, it's been a pleasure to have you on here. It's been really, really good, and talking about everything we talked about at the beginning, man, I mean, thank you again for sort of trusting me to talk about that, and hopefully it comes over in a good way because it's very difficult for you to talk about. Everything you said came over amazing. So we'll get that out there. We'll tell the world your story.
Just want to say thank you to me, coach. And all. Obviously, Neil Wayne, everyone knows that I love him. He's like a second dad to me. He's also made me the fighter that I am today. Without him, like he's been to my house, helped me out in tough times, and it's just been amazing to me. So thank you to Neil Wayne for helping me out for everything that I've been through, not just fighting, but life in general. And thank you to Conor Halliday for welcoming me to the unit and all for helping me train, really. So yeah, thank you to everyone at the unit, and thank you to everyone who I've trained with, Liam Stones, Sam Halliday, everyone like that, Dave Wright, everybody. So yeah, just thank you guys. Really appreciate it all.
Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.